Hi, Seth Shostak here. I'm here to answer your questions. And I have one here from Kana. And Kana asks, how big would ET be? Well, the answer is we don't know the answer. I mean, we haven't found ET yet, so we haven't been able to ask their size. But there are a few things you can say. To begin with, if ET is on a planet that has oceans and an atmosphere, that planet can't be too small and it can't be too big, because if it's too big, it's not going to have that nice atmosphere that you can breathe. It's going to have things like ammonia and sulfuric acid and things in the atmosphere that, are really not good for your health. If it's too small, it'll lose the atmosphere altogether. So one thing you can say is that ET's planet's probably going to be more or less the same size as Earth. And that means that the gravity will be more or less the same size as Earth. So that gravity has something to do with how big you are, because you've got to be able to stand up and walk around. Now, you could say, well, couldn't the aliens be much, much bigger? Well, they could be, but there's a problem. You get bigger, you need more food. If you need more food, you have to have more territory to find more food. That's a problem. But the second thing is something called a scaling law. All right, you probably don't know about scaling laws unless you're a lawyer, but scaling laws tell you this. If you were to take, for example, a little bug, right, and just make it twice as high. So you make it twice as high, but now it's also twice as wide and twice as deep. So it's 8 times heavier. But its poor little muscles haven't gotten 8 times stronger. They've actually only gotten 4 times stronger. So that poor little bug wouldn't be able to kind of stand up and walk around, right? If you took a bug and made it as big as they did in a movie called Starship Troopers, when they were bigger than the people, those bugs would just collapse in on themselves in a really unappetizing mess. So it's not likely that the aliens are going to get bigger than maybe 10 elephants. I mean, some limit like that. They're not going to be the size of a skyscraper. Well, what about the other way? Could they be much smaller than us? Well, maybe, but there's a problem there too, because all brains, no matter what critter you're talking about, all brains are made with the same kinds of neurons, the little single cell thingies that are, in fact, the wiring of your brain, right? And they take up a certain amount of space. Now, of course, maybe aliens had better neurons, but if you take an alien and make them too small, give them a head the size of a ping pong ball, it's going to have a ping pong ball IQ. It's not going to be smart. And those aren't the aliens you're either going to hear from or see. So will the aliens be more or less our size? Well, in the movies, they always are, right? I mean, in fact, they always have 2 arms and 2 legs. That's just the result of the fish that we descended from. They might not have 2 arms and 2 legs. They might have 2 arms and 4 legs, or 4 arms and 2 legs. I mean, we don't know, okay? But the aliens in the movies don't do it that way because, well, those aliens in the movies, they could just walk into your local Macy's department store and buy a suit, and it would fit them. They look so much like us. Real aliens aren't going to look like us, but they're not going to be enormously bigger or smaller. Kana, thank you for your question.